After losing him, she discovers an incredible strength, vows to create a touching legacy of love. Clara felt the weight of the world on her shoulders as she stared out at the empty backyard. It used to be a sea of laughter, where Tom would throw his head back, that joyous sound bubbling up like the sizzling burgers on the grill. But now? Silence wrapped around her like a thick fog. Her heart ached for the life they once had, for the evenings spent under twinkling fairy lights, children playing tag while she and Tom exchanged knowing smiles. "This is our home," he would say, his voice steady and warm. Now, home felt cold and hollow. At 34, Clara was navigating through grief with two small anchors, Lily and Ethan, sitting cross-legged on the floor, their little faces twisted with worry. The loss of their father hung over them like a storm cloud, and as the sole provider, Clara felt the pressure tighten in her chest. The grocery store job beckoning her like a siren song felt like a betrayal of Tom's commitment to Maplewood, a community he cherished deeply. This corner of the world had once been alive with neighbors gathering at the community center, sharing stories and laughter, where Tom had dedicated countless hours to teaching teamwork to kids. Now, that spirit was threatened by a rich developer's plans to bulldoze their beloved refuge for luxury condos. Prosperity? Clara scoffed at the thought. She believed in community, something money could never replace. As whispers of protests reached her, that flicker of hope ignited something dormant within. Clara watched from her window as neighbors banded together, determined to save what Tom had nurtured. Their passion seeped into her soul, transforming her sorrow into a resolve she never knew existed. Those Saturday barbecues echoed in her mind, the way Tom would carelessly toss another burger on the grill. They were moments filled with joy and love. It was time to honor those moments. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. While sifting through the clutter of Tom's belongings one night, Clara stumbled upon a box of letters. Each page echoed Tom's voice, recounting his military experiences, laced with dreams for their children's futures. Tears streamed down her face as she read his words, pulse racing with each sentence. She could almost feel his presence beside her, urging her to remember that just because he was gone didn't mean she had to bury her dreams too. Stepping into the shoes of a community leader felt foreign at first, but Clara was determined. She called for a town hall meeting, knowing the stakes were high. The center wasn't just a building, it was a piece of their hearts. As people gathered, unexpected faces filled the room, buzzing with determination, the very essence of the American spirit. But just as Clara stood to speak, the developer flashed a smug smile, his eyes glinting with challenge. Memories of Tom's laughter hung in the air, urging her forward. Could Clara protect their legacy? The clock was ticking, and she felt the weight of her grief surge like a tidal wave. Would she succumb to fear, or rise up and honor the love that still burned in her heart? The next move was hers, and it could change Maplewood forever. Clara's heart raced as she stood before the gathered crowd, each face a portrait of hope and determination. She felt the familiar warmth of Tom's spirit swirling around her, pushing her to find her voice. But would it calm her jittery nerves? "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. But soon, courage surged within her. "This community center isn't just a building, it's where we gathered, united as one family. It's where Tom taught our kids to dream, to believe in themselves." She paused, her breath hitching for just a moment, as tears pricked the corners of her eyes. An audible murmur rippled through the crowd. Clara could feel the energy shift, a collective heartbeat that matched hers. People leaned in, eager to listen. "I know we're all hurting," she continued. "I'm struggling too, but what if we could fight for this place together?" She could see the flicker of conviction ignite in the eyes of her neighbors. This wasn't just about saving a building. It was about preserving the love and laughter that filled their lives. As she spoke, Clara remembered the late nights Tom had spent with her, mapping out plans for the center, drawing sketches of children's play areas. It was a haven for all theater nights, potluck dinners, small markets. Each event breathed life into Maplewood, and they were determined to keep that fire alive. "I don't want our kids to grow up in a town without roots," she said, her voice steady, stronger now. "They deserve a place filled with memories, just like we did." She looked around at the crowd, their faces reflecting a mix of pain and resolve. With that moment of vulnerability, she struck a chord, connecting with the universal longing for community, for belonging. A ripple effect surged through the room as one by one, hands began to rise, voices joining hers in spirited agreement. Just then, Clara caught a glimpse of Ethan's hopeful smile in the corner. It was like a light shining in her darkness. But in the back, the developer sat with his arms crossed, still smirking. The contrast of his presence was a glaring reminder that not everyone shared this vision of love. Some saw only profit. How could they stand against such power? "Together, we can turn this idea into action," Clara shouted, her heart beating faster, her resolve firming. "Let us form a committee, create a plan, and make our voices heard." As her words hung in the air, a wave of energy washed over the crowd, passionate chants of "Save Maplewood" ringing through the room, punctuated by claps and cheers. Clara felt herself grow lighter, buoyed by the support of her neighbors, feeling for the first time that she truly belonged again. But as the applause died down, a sinking heaviness returned. What if they rallied, and it wasn't enough? What if they fought and lost? Doubts crept in like shadows threatening the emerging light. The weight of uncertainty pressed against her chest. "Let us meet again next week," she proposed, still riding the wave of adrenaline. "We need to get organized." And with that, amidst the fading echo of cheers, Clara felt the first flicker of hope amidst the worry that engulfed her heart. Yet, the next town hall meeting was already overshadowed by the developer's threats, and Clara feared that their united front might not withstand his relentless pursuit. Would they be able to secure the community center, or would it all crumble under the weight of reality? As Clara stepped out into the chill of the evening air, armed with hope but pursued by doubt, she realized that the fight had only just begun. Would she muster the strength to protect the memories they cherished, or would the tides of change sweep it all away forever? Clara walked slowly through the trees lining the path home, her thoughts swirling like the fallen leaves around her. Each rustle seemed to echo with the voices of her neighbors, the chants of "Save Maplewood" still ringing in her ears. It was a bittersweet melody, intertwining threads of hope and fear. Once inside, she dropped her keys on the kitchen table, her home now eerily quiet. The walls seemed to close in, reminding her of what was missing. Tom's laughter, the warmth of his presence. It felt like trying to catch smoke with her bare hands. She breathed in deeply, trying to capture the memories that had shifted just out of reach. Clara leaned against the counter, her fingers tracing the edge of a photo frame. In it, their family stood before the community center, faces beaming with joy and pride. "We can do this," she whispered to herself, clenching her fists in determination. The thought of that building, filled with memories of Tom and the countless lives they'd touched, was enough to pull her back from the edge of despair. As the room darkened with the evening sky, she decided to prepare. She pulled out a notebook, doodled on the first page a rough sketch of the center, and began jotting down ideas. If she was going to organize the community, she needed a solid plan. She envisioned meetings filled with laughter, brainstorming sessions, people sharing their stories. This wasn't just about saving bricks and mortar, it was about reigniting a sense of belonging. The next few days were a whirlwind. Clara reached out to neighbors, drawing them into her mission. As they gathered around tables filled with coffee and pastries, she saw faces she hadn't truly connected with before. Each person shared a memory tied to the center: a first dance, a summer fair, and with every story, the bond between them grew stronger. There was a determination flaring in the air, fueled by shared grief and hope. Each laugh and tear stitched together the frayed fabric of their community. Ethan was a rock, his support unwavering. He helped organize flyers, designed a website, and rallied enthusiasm wherever he went. Clara felt invigorated by his energy, like a flame fueled by the wind. And yet, as they plotted out their strategy, the developer's looming threat felt like a dark cloud on the horizon. One evening, as they sat at the center, Clara looked around the room, studying the hopeful faces in the glow of string lights they had hung to brighten the space. "We're not just fighting for bricks and mortar," she said firmly, standing taller than she ever had. "We're fighting for our souls." The crowd erupted in cheers, their spirits lifting the burden of doubt, but the weight of reality remained. Just as Clara felt a surge of optimism welling within, a loud knock on the door shattered the moment. The noise was abrupt, jolting her from her reverie. She exchanged worried glances with Ethan. Who could it be at this hour? As they moved towards the door, her heart raced again, a flutter of anxiety mixed with anticipation. Was it a neighbor wanting to lend support, or could it be the developer, bringing news that would turn their dream into a nightmare? She opened the door slowly, finding a tall figure silhouetted against the fading light, a figure she didn't expect. "Clara," came a familiar voice from the shadows, sending chills down her spine. "We need to talk." Clara's heart skipped. Beneath the uncertainty, a spark of intrigue ignited. Who had just stepped back into her life? And what did they want? Clara blinked, trying to process the figure in front of her. Even in the dim light, she recognized the familiar tousled hair and deep-set eyes. "Jake," she breathed, trying to steady herself. It had been years since he'd left town, a ghost of her past resurfacing at the most unexpected moment. "Can I come in?" His voice was steady but tinged with urgency. Clara hesitated, her mind racing through all the unresolved feelings she had tucked away. She stepped aside, allowing him entry. Once she closed the door, the silence felt thicker, filled with unspoken words. Clara gestured toward the couch, and Jake sank into it, his gaze scanning the room as if he were absorbing every detail. Clara stood a few steps back, uncertain and defensive. "I saw your posters," he started, breaking the awkwardness that hung in the air. "About the community center. I wanted to help." "Help?" Clara echoed, crossing her arms. "Last I checked, you were miles away, doing your own thing." The bitterness crept into her tone. It felt as if he had abandoned the town, leaving everything behind, including her. "I know," Jake admitted, running a hand through his hair as he leaned forward. "But things have changed for me. I'm here now. I want to be involved." She didn't want to believe him. Yet part of her found a flicker of something hope in his eyes. It reminded her of late-night talks, sharing dreams that felt bigger than both of them. But that felt like another lifetime, before the heartache, before Tom. "Why now?" Clara asked, her voice softening slightly. "You left the moment things got tough, you didn't look back." "I was afraid, Clara," he confessed, vulnerability breaking through his bravado. "I didn't realize how much I loved this place or you until I was gone. I thought I could find what was missing elsewhere, but I only found emptiness." Clara's heart raced, torn between anger and the deep-seated feelings that clung like shadows. "And you think showing up is going to fix everything? Like it was just a bad dream?" Jake sighed, the weight of his choices pressing down on him. "No, I know I can't erase the past. But I see how hard you're fighting for Maplewood, and honestly, I want to fight alongside you." Ethan stepped into the room, breaking the tension with a broad smile. Clara noticed the way Jake's posture straightened, an instinctive reaction to the newcomer. "Everything okay?" Ethan asked, sensing the atmosphere. Clara exchanged a quick glance with Jake before responding, "We're just having a chat." The unease in the air hung thickly again, an invisible thread of competition sparking between the two men in her life. "Good," said Ethan, his eyes flicking curiously to Jake. "We need all the help we can get, right? Just this week, we've been brainstorming ideas for the rally." "Rally?" What rally? Jake looked from Ethan to Clara, his brows knitting together. The rally to save the community center, Clara said, her voice firm. We need to show everyone what's at stake. A flicker of excitement crossed Jake's face. Maybe I can help with that. I've got some connections. We don't need connections, we need to show our true selves, Clara interrupted, grounding herself. This is about more than connections. It's about heart. Jake nodded, perhaps realizing that Clara was not a pawn to be molded into a tool of manipulation, but someone powerful in her own right. As the three stood in the subdued glow of the center's lights, Clara felt her emotions swirling again, hope, frustration, doubt all crashing together. Could she really let Jake back in, or would it only complicate the mission she felt so passionately about? Just then, Clara's phone buzzed, breaking her thoughts like a pebble shattering glass. She glanced down at the screen and her heart dropped. A message from the developers. She had been warned about a meeting was set, and they wanted to discuss plans for the center. Looks like we're going to be busy, she said quietly, fear creeping back in. Would there be room for reconciliation amidst this storm, or would everything she cherished slip through her fingers once more? The tension in the room thickened as all eyes turned to her, each person holding their breath. Clara could feel the weight of their hopes resting on her shoulders. Let us get to work, she declared, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside her. The battle wasn't just for the center, it was for a piece of her heart, too. And somewhere, deep down, she wondered if reclaiming both could be truly possible. Clara felt the immediate pressure of the situation press down on her. The weight of the posters on the wall, proclaiming hope for the community center, suddenly felt heavy. The laughter and joy once associated with Maplewood faded into a distant memory, replaced by the stark reality of what could be lost. Clara? Ethan's voice broke through her thoughts, bringing her back to the moment. Are you with us? Yeah, she said quickly, focusing on Ethan. His earnest eyes were glued to hers, ready for her direction. About the meeting, we need a plan. If they're coming to discuss plans for the center, we need to be prepared. Jake shifted in his seat, his body language more open than it had been just moments ago. I can help. I know some people in town who might be supportive, he said, his enthusiasm palpable. But it's not just about finding allies. We need to connect with the heart of the issue. Heart? Clara repeated softly. The word echoed between them, a gentle reminder of their shared past and the feelings she had buried so deeply. Ethan stepped closer, surveying the two of them. What are you thinking, Clara? We need specifics to prepare for this meeting. What will be our message? Flashes of memories danced in her mind. Neighborhood gatherings, laughter echoing at the center, the warmth of familiar faces. We need to remind people why the center matters. It's not just a building, it's a lifeline. It's where we connect, where dreams are nurtured, where families grow. Jake leaned forward, excitement blending with determination in his gaze. What if we gather stories from those who've been impacted by the center? We can create a presentation. Show them real people and the joy it brings. I love that idea. Clara felt a spark ignite within her. We could create a video interview members of the community, share their experiences. It'll be raw and authentic. Right, Ethan nodded, his spirit lifted. And we can plan community events leading up to the rally, pump up excitement. The more people involved, the stronger our case. Clara felt the breath start to lift from her chest. It was as if they were flipping the script on despair. She turned to Jake, seeing him in a new light. You really want to do this? More than anything, he replied, sincerity threading his voice. This town may have been filled with memories of us, but it's time we make new ones, not just for us, but for everyone. She couldn't help but smile at his words. It was a frail smile, but it gave her strength. Their past didn't have to dictate their future, but then her phone buzzed again, shattering the moment. The silence built tension, the kind that feels almost suffocating. She opened the message, her heart pounding as dread washed over her. "Clara? Everything okay?" Ethan's gaze was piercing, searching for reassurance. "It's from the developer again," she said, blinking hard at the screen. "They want to meet in 72 hours. 72 hours? Jake's expression tightened. "That's not a lot of time." "I know. But we can't let them push us around. We need to prepare ourselves really well if we want to fight for this." "Assemble everyone," Ethan urged. "We'll get stories, we'll gather support, and we'll solidify our message for that meeting. We'll make it clear, we're not backing down without a fight." "Count me in," Jake added fiercely, and for the first time, Clara felt a sense of unity. As they dove into planning, the energy in the room shifted. Heartbeats quickened, fists clenched in determination. They were no longer just fighting for a community center, they were fighting for hope, for each other, and for all the dreams left unfulfilled. But as Clara took a deep breath, gratitude washing over her, one question echoed in her mind: was Jake there to stay this time? And would their combined efforts be enough to save not just the center, but the love that had once flickered between them? With the plan laid out, the trio dove into action. Days flew by as Clara, Ethan, and Jake roamed the bustling streets of Maplewood, each corner filled with familiar faces and stories yearning to be told. Clara felt grounded amidst the chaos, her heart raced with a mix of hope and dread. This wasn't just a fight for a building, it was a fight for their community, their shared dreams, and maybe even a second chance for her and Jake. Ethan set up interviews with past attendees of the community center. They decided to hold a gathering at the park to rekindle memories and gather stories. Clara worked on the video, she wanted each narrative to highlight the heartwarming bonds forged in the center. As she sifted through files, images of families, children's laughter, and heartfelt events flashed before her. They were learning more about who they were as a community, and Clara felt the whispers of hope grow louder. On that sunny Saturday afternoon, the park buzzed with anticipation. Clara's heart swelled as she watched familiar faces arrive, smiles lighting up the corner of her eye. She saw old friends reconnecting, the warmth of cherished memories mingling with the fresh air. They set up a makeshift stage, adorned with colorful banners and posters. Jake helped push the steady flow of energy, sharing stories of his childhood at the center. "Remember the summer festivals?" he asked, eyes sparkling with nostalgia. "We'd have the best cookouts. Everyone would come to share their delicious recipes. My mom's barbecue pulled pork was a hit." Laughter rippled through the crowd, a testament to the memories they had built together. Clara stepped up to the mic, feeling vulnerability wrap around her like an old, worn quilt. "Thank you all for being here. Today isn't just about saving the building, it's about preserving everything it represents," she began, her voice shaking but firm. "The connections we've created, the support we've shared. This center has been our home, a safe haven." The crowd murmured in agreement, and Clara's spirit soared. As the afternoon unfolded, stories poured in. An elderly woman spoke about the lifelong friendships she found, while teenagers recounted their first dances and the mentoring that had sparked their aspirations. Each tale was a thread weaving into a rich tapestry, one that illustrated a community built on resilience and love. Clara felt a surge of emotion as she captured these moments, their essence feeding her determination. She could feel Jake's presence beside her, bringing her an unexpected warmth, but amidst the joy, Jake's gaze remained intense. He'd been listening closely, lips pressed together, as if wrestling with his own thoughts. Clara couldn't help but wonder, was he struggling with his own past? Did he remember the times they shared, the love and dreams they once had? Could their love rekindle for the future they desperately wanted? The sun dipped low, casting a golden glow over the park. Clara glanced over at Ethan, who was animatedly engaging with a group. She turned back to Jake, catching his eye. A flicker of something unsaid danced between them, like a spark desperately calling for a flame. Would they ever really be able to move forward? As the event drew to a close, Clara felt an undeniable shift within her. They had created a powerful evening filled with unity, but uncertainty still nagged at her. Jake reached for her hand, his touch sending a warm jolt up her arm. "Clara, about all this I need to tell you something," he started, his voice suddenly serious, full of weight. The air thickened around them, electrified with unspoken words. Clara's heart raced, bracing for whatever revelation he might share. Would this be the thing that changed everything? Could this be the moment that either pulled them apart or bound them closer? "Clara, I can't walk away again," he continued, urgency threading through his tone. Was this the proposal she hoped for, or was there more to his confession? As she inhaled deeply, ready for the truth about their past and possibly their future, her stomach twisted with anticipation. She could feel the ground beneath her feet shifting, uncertain of what was coming next. And amid the thrumming of her heart, one question lingered: could love truly endure, even after it had once been lost? With a firm grip on Clara's hand, Jake took a deep breath, his eyes searching hers like he was trying to read the very shadows of her heart. "I've made mistakes and I know I hurt you," he said, the weight of his words hanging in the air like a thick fog. "But this time, I want to fight for us. I can't just see you as a friend anymore. I want to be there for you, for this community, for everything." Clara's breath hitched. A mix of confusion and hope twisted inside her chest. Was this what she had been waiting for? Did he really mean it? Yet, a flicker of doubt danced on the fringes of her mind. "Jake, we've been through so much. Can we really start over?" Her voice trembled, caught in the aftermath of so many unhealed wounds. His gaze softened, crinkling the edges of his eyes. "I'm ready to try, Clara. No more running away. This community is worth it. You are worth it." He stepped closer, his sincerity wrapping around her like a warm blanket. She felt tiny sparks where their skin brushed, igniting emotions that had lain dormant for too long. Around them, the park was alive with laughter and fading sunlight, families packing up picnic baskets and children chasing each other through the grass. But here, in this moment, the world blurred out. Their past was a backdrop as Clara searched for the right words, her heart racing with the possibilities and fears that surged within. "I don't want to just jump back into feeling like we used to. We have to be sure," she said finally, wanting to anchor their moment in the harsh reality of what they had endured. Moments of pure joy had also held pain, and she couldn't ignore that. Jake nodded, the confidence flickering in his eyes. "I know. I'll do whatever it takes to prove it to you. This community center means everything to us. It's what brought us back together." He paused, "and I think it's time we truly face what we've created and what we want." Clara felt a swell of determination. "Yes," she exclaimed. "We can't let any fear hold us back. This center is for the families, the dreams, the community. We can be the change they need." As excitement surged, Clara knew they had to channel their energy into preserving what had become their home base, not just for them, but for every soul connected to that building. The crowd echoed her enthusiasm, and the laughter faded into cheers as Clara rallied them to join her and Jake. "We're not just here to share memories, we're here to create a future." The group erupted in applause, urging them forward, and Clara felt her heart lift once again. Yet, beneath the excitement, a lingering worry festered within Clara's heart. She looked at Jake and saw a flicker of something deeper beneath his resolve. Could he really change? Would he stay the man she needed, or would old patterns drag them back again? The community as support was invaluable, but was it enough to bind them against their individual fears? As the event began to close, Clara shared a final wave of encouragement with the crowd, her voice ringing clear: "Let us lift each other up and build the legacy our community deserves." But as she stepped off the makeshift stage, Jake's hand found hers again. "Clara, can we talk privately for a minute?" he asked, his tone shifting. What else did he have to say? Her heart raced anew, caught in the uncertainty of uncharted territories. They were standing on the precipice of something so profound, but could they truly navigate the complexities of love and commitment again? Or was this just the beginning of a fresh struggle? As the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple. Clara couldn't shake the feeling that shadows were still lurking, shadows that held the answers she needed to uncover. What was Jake hiding this time, and would it bring them closer or pull them apart again? Clara took a moment to steady herself as Jake led her away from the buzz of the crowd. Her stomach flipped anxiously, the sensation a mix of dread and excitement. The park, once bright with laughter, now felt heavy with anticipation. "Over here," Jake said, guiding her toward a secluded bench nestled beneath a sprawling oak tree. Shadows danced around them, the last rays of sunlight filtering through the leaves, creating an atmosphere that felt both intimate and charged. Once seated, Clara turned to Jake, curiosity mingling with an unease that crept at her edges. "What's on your mind?" she asked, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. Jake ran a hand through his hair, an old, familiar habit. "I know I've said a lot today, but I need you to know it's not just talk. I want this to be real." His voice trembled slightly, revealing vulnerability beneath his tough exterior. Clara searched his eyes, looking for the truth buried beneath promises. "I believe you want it to be real. But there are things still unsaid between us. Things we can't ignore." He winced, an expression of regret passing over his face. "You're right. I should have been more open with you before. The truth is I've been struggling. I let my fears drive me away. But when I saw everyone come together today, I realized how much I need this. How much I need you." The ground felt unsteady, as if the earth beneath them was shifting. Clara wanted to respond, to tell him that their history was heavy and full of scars. But behind her hesitation lay something new, an ember of resolve. "Jake, I want this too. But I can't pretend everything's okay just because you say it is. I need to know you're committed for the right reasons, not just because I was angry or afraid," she pushed, her voice strengthening. The fire inside her wasn't just for him, it was for herself too. He nodded, swallowing hard. "I get it. I really do. I need to make changes in my life. I've been avoiding the work it takes to be the partner you deserve. But I'm here now. I want to hold on to this chance." Clara's heart swelled with cautious hope. She wanted to believe that Jake could be the man she dreamed he could be. But how could she be sure? The weight of past hurts loomed like a curtain over their budding conversation, a shield that still kept her from fully letting go. "Starting is one thing," she murmured, her voice growing softer. "But we have to ensure we're moving forward together, not just leaning on each other because times are tough." Jake's expression turned serious, his eyes piercing into hers. "I promise I'll be open. I don't want us to get lost in old patterns. I want to be better for us, for the community, for everything we stand for. I'm committed to facing my fears, and whatever issues come up, I want us to tackle them head-on." Clara felt a ripple of warmth wash over her at his sincerity, even as doubt tugged at her heart. This could be a turning point. But uncertainty still lingered. "I want to create something incredible together, but trust takes time, Jake. I can't just throw my heart back out there without knowing it's safe." "We've been down that path before," she reminded him, hoping she wasn't building walls. "I understand. Let us take it slow. I'm here for the long haul, Clara. No more shortcuts." His voice was steady now, and in that moment, she decided to step closer. Just a little. As they sat together, silence settled over them, with the park slowly emptying behind them. There was something electric in the air, laden with possibility. Could they truly turn the page on their tragic history? Out of nowhere, the park lights flickered on, illuminating a path ahead, casting stars against the dusk. Clara glanced at Jake, a question bubbling inside her. Are we ready to face the world together, or is it too soon? The answer hung in the air, and Clara couldn't help but wonder if they might finally be able to confront their shadows and emerge, not just as survivors, but as a united front. Would they find the strength to overcome their past, or would the shadows prove too daunting to conquer? The air between them crackled with anticipation, and Jake shifted slightly, as if the weight of his unspoken thoughts pressed heavily against his chest. Clara's pulse quickened, and she felt a strange mix of hope and anxiety fluttering in her stomach. "So, what's next for us then?" Jake asked, his brow furrowing as he cast a glance toward the empty park. The soft glow of the lamps illuminated his features, highlighting the earnestness in his eyes. Clara took a deep breath, drawing courage from the ground beneath her. "I think we need to set some boundaries. We can't just dive back into it without knowing where we both stand." He nodded thoughtfully, absorbing her words. "Agreed. It's not just about feelings, it's about building trust. What do you have in mind?" She contemplated her next words carefully. "I need to be honest about my fears, Jake. I can't live in the shadows of our past. Every time I think about us, I can't shake that feeling of betrayal." The pause that followed felt heavy, like a weight that neither wanted to lift. Jake shifted, his gaze dropping to the ground. "I know I messed up. I was scared, and fear made me act selfishly. It's taken me a while to realize that love requires vulnerability not just on your part, but mine too." The sincerity in his voice wrapped around her heart, warming it slightly, but Clara couldn't fully let go. "The damage is still fresh for me, Jake. I can't leap forward with blind trust. I need to see that you've changed and that this is about you wanting us, not just escaping your fears." Jake looked up at her, his expression earnest. "I want to learn how to love you properly, Clara. I want to be your partner in every sense of the word. Let me show you that I can be better." As those words hung silently between them, Clara felt a flicker of hope igniting inside her. Maybe, just maybe, this time could be different. But the question of how to prove this to herself loomed large in her mind. "In the meantime, let us start with something simple," she suggested, her voice weaker but determined. "Why don't we check in with each other regularly? Just small moments where we see if we're both feeling okay with how things are progressing." Jake's face broke into a small smile. "That sounds fair. Small steps can lead to big changes, right?" Clara nodded, feeling her heart open just a fraction more. "Yes, and remember to be patient with me. It won't be easy to erase our past." "Patience is what I'm offering," he replied, an edge of playfulness returning to his tone. "After all, we've already signed up for the roller coaster of emotions. Let us just enjoy the ride." They both laughed softly, the tension easing ever so slightly, but it was still there, waiting to be addressed. As they exchanged glances, Clara felt lighter, the night air wrapping around them like a soft blanket. "Do you want to walk for a bit?" Jake suggested, standing up and offering his hand. "We can talk more and see where this leads." Clara hesitated for just a moment, the shadows of doubt creeping back. But this was a step in the right direction toward the potential that awaited them. She placed her hand in his, feeling the warmth spread through her. "Let us go," she said with a smile, her heartbeat steadying as hope began to bloom again. As they strolled down the path, silence filled the gaps where anxiety once lingered. But amid the quiet, something else throbbed beneath the surface, an unspoken understanding that they were beginning to write a new story. "Can I ask you something?" Jake's voice broke through the tranquility. "Sure," Clara replied, her curiosity piqued. "If you could change one thing about our past, what would it be?" The question hung in the air, charged with implications. Clara felt the weight of it settle in her stomach. Could she answer that without losing sight of how far they had come? As she weighed her thoughts, Jake's grip on her hand tightened slightly, urging her to consider not just the past but the future that awaited them. What would she say? Would her answer reveal the path they needed to tread? Clara took a deep breath, the evening air cool against her skin. The question loomed large, and yet it felt oddly freeing. "I think if I could change one thing, it would be to have had more courage back then. To have spoken up when I needed to have pushed us both to address our fears instead of running away." Jake nodded, processing her words. I get that. I wish I had realized sooner that walking away didn't make things better. It only deepened the divide. A soft sigh escaped her lips. Here they were, finally drawing a line under the past. Clara turned to him, finding comfort in his gaze. But I realize it's not just about what we could have done differently. It's about how we move forward now. We can't change the past, but we can build a future. A smile crept across his face, genuine and warm. And I want to embrace that future with you, Clara. For the community. For us. Just then, in the distance, Clara spotted a familiar figure, her kids, Lily and Ethan, running toward her with excited smiles and laughter dancing like fireflies in the night. They raced into her arms, their giggles breaking the tension that had wrapped around Clara's heart. "Mama, look! We were playing with Jason and Ava." Lily shouted, her wide eyes sparkling with joy. Ethan beamed, clearly proud of their little adventure. Clara knelt down to their level, absorbing their energy like a lifeline. "That sounds like so much fun. Did you miss me?" "Kind of," Ethan said, shooting Clara a cheeky grin as he nudged his sister. Jake chuckled, his heart visibly melting at the scene. "You guys are the best team, you know that?" The kids looked at him with curious eyes, and Clara felt the warmth of hope filling the spaces that had been empty for so long. "We're going to save the community center, and maybe have a little work to do with our team here," she said, glancing at Jake. "Can we help, too?" Lily asked, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "I want to be part of saving the place where we do all those fun things." "That's the spirit." Clara beamed, pulling them closer. They were a team, her children, Jake, and her community. She felt the rhythm of the world settling back into place. It might be challenging, but they would face it together. Jake knelt next to them, looking serious yet kind. "How about we plan a family project? We can gather stories from everyone, and then you can help create a cool presentation for the rally." "Yes!" Ethan exclaimed, his face lighting up. "Can we make it really fun?" "Absolutely. It's a chance to share how important the community center is to each of us. We're going to show how much love lives here." Clara's heart swelled, feeling the very fabric of family and community intertwining. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, the air filled with laughter, joy, and a renewed vitality. Clara glanced at Jake, and their eyes met, a shared understanding passing between them. They were committed. This time was different. She felt a certainty radiating from him, as if he had shed the shadows of his past. She took a step forward, hand in hand with her children and Jake, heading toward the heart of Maplewood, their community. As they walked, Clara looked up at the stars beginning to sparkle in the night sky, each one representing the dreams they would fight for together. Together, she whispered to herself, feeling the warmth of her family beside her, and as they approached the community center, she knew in her heart they would not just save it. They would rebuild something beautiful within their community and within one another. Filled with laughter, love, and a history that no longer seemed to weigh them down, but instead lifted them toward new beginnings. Now was their moment, and they would seize it. If you're inspired by Clara's journey and want to see more incredible stories that uplift and empower, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for our channel. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these meaningful narratives alive. Comment below your thoughts on Clara's transformation and how you feel about the future she is building. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. Be the spark that lights the way for others.